Thank you. In keeping with our tradition, we will now be lighting the traditional oil lamp. We kindly invite the following dignitaries to do the honors. His Excellency Harsha Kumara Navaratna, the High Commissioner. Madam Kanti Navaratna, spouse of the High Commissioner. Mrs. Ansul Banu Jan, Deputy High Commissioner. Mrs. Chintani Sumatipala, Attaché. And Mr. MDK Aravinda, IT Officer. Now it is the time to conduct of religious observances, to bestow blessings on Sri Lanka and its people. In order to bestow blessings, I would respectfully invite Venerable Mahasangha from the Buddhist faith, followed by Swami from the Hindu faith, Reverend Father from the Catholic faith, and Maulavi representing the Islamic faith.
Good morning and Ayubowan, venerable members of Mahasangha and religious dignitaries from each faith. His Excellency, the High Commissioner for Sri Lanka in Canada, Mr. Harsha Kumara Navaratna, the Deputy High Commissioner, and the staff of the Sri Lankan High Commission, dear Sri Lankans. It's a great honor and privilege to participate in the virtual 74th anniversary of the independence of Sri Lanka. As Sri Lankans in Canada, we all are proud of our motherland Sri Lanka in many ways. Therefore, this celebration of the independence of Sri Lanka is a proud moment for all Sri Lankans in Canada. As the President of Buddhist Congress of Canada, on behalf of Mudita Nayaka Thero, the abbot of Hilda Jayawardhanarame Buddhist Monastery, I wish to extend the blessings of the Noble Triple Gem to the High Commissioner and all Sri Lankans. May you have a very happy and proud independence celebration. Geographically, Sri Lanka is a tiny dot of the world map. So when we come to global level on demography, economy, technology, and many other areas of concern, we may be unnoticed by the world. However, we have a long history which tells the world how great we were in the past. We never forget our past, and that should be reflected by all Sri Lankans over and over again to celebrate Sri Lanka as an independent nation. Despite the glorious history of Sri Lanka, we as a nation struggle today. The solution for various issues Sri Lanka faces now is nothing but self-confidence, respecting each other, and working hard to regain economic status strong. In addition, friends, we as a nation should establish good principles for each sections of the country and follow them at any cost. Then we would be able to solve many issues in the country and feel the joy of the independence. In my message, I kindly request all Sri Lankans to think of what the Buddha said in his wholesome teaching. The Buddha said, Uttanavato Satimato Suchikammas Nisammakarino Sanyatasata Dhammajivino Appamattasa Yasubhivaddati. The meaning of these wonderful teachings of the Buddha is, if a person is energetic, mindful, pure in his thought, words, and deed, And if he does everything with care and consideration, the fame and the fortune of that mindful person steadily increases. Each, if each Sri Lankan follows this principle, for sure, the country would be great again. At this critical moment of the country, let's celebrate the 74th independence of Sri Lanka with enormous kindness and compassion to each Sri Lankans in Sri Lanka and elsewhere, and also work hard to bring smile all Sri Lankans again. Finally, I would like to wish all Sri Lankans happiness and joy, and may the High Commissioner and the staff of Sri Lanka High Commission in Ottawa and other members of the Sri Lankan delegation be peaceful. May my motherland be well, prosperous, with the blessings of the Noble Triple Gem. Thank you. Teruang Saranai.
අතිපූජනීය මහා සංඝරත්නයන් අවසරයි අන්‍ය ආගමික පූජකවරුනි ශ්‍රී ලංකා කැනේඩියානු මහකොමතාරිස් ඩොක්ටර් හර්ෂ නවරත්න මැතිතුමා ඇතුළු ආරාධිත සම්භාවනීය අමුත්තනි ශ්‍රී ලංකා මහකොමතාරිස් තුමාගේ ප්‍රධානත්වයෙන් අද දින පවත්වනු ලබන්නේ ශ්‍රී ලංකාවේ 74 වැනි නිදහස් සැමරුමයි මෙම ඓතිහාසික දිනය සමරන අවස්ථාවට සහභාගී වීමට අවස්ථාවක් ලබා දීම පිළිබඳව මහකොමතාරිස්තුමා ඇතුළු කාර්ය මණ්ඩලයට අපගේ ස්තුතිය පිළිගන්වන්නෙමු. සියවස් ගණනාවක් මුළුල්ලේ යටත් විජිතවාදීන්ට නතුව පැවතුණු ශ්‍රී ලංකාව විදේශී ආධිපත්‍යයෙන් නිදහස් කරගත්තේ මෙවැනි දිනයකය. එවැනි දිනයක් සමරන මෙවැනි මොහොතක අපගේ මනසට සිහිපත් වන්නේ දේශානුරාගය ජීවිත පරිත්‍යාගයෙන් මව්බිම වෙනුවෙන් සටන් වැදුණු ශ්‍රේෂ්ඨ වීරවරයන්ය. නිදහස ලබා ගැනීම සඳහා විශාල අරගලයක නිරත වූ ජාතික වීරවරයන් අතරින් වාරියපොළ සුමංගල හිමි, කුඩාපොළ හිමි, වීර කැප්පිටිපොළ, ගොංගාලේගොඩ බණ්ඩා, වීර පුරංඅප්පු, හඟුරන්ගෙත ඩිංගිරාල ආදී ශ්‍රේෂ්ඨ වීරවරයන් සැමරීම අපේ යුතුයකමක් වන්නේය. තම හැකියාව හා ජාතික මමත්වය පෙරදරි කරගෙන තම වාක් ශෛලියෙන් හා ජාතිකානුරාගයෙන් ක්‍රියා කරමින් මිනිස් සිත් අවදි කරවීමට ක්‍රියා කර වූ අතර ගරු මිගට්ටුවත්තේ ගුණානන්ද හිමි, ටිබෙට් එස් මහින්ද හිමි, හික්කඩුවේ සුමංගල හිමි, අනගාരിക ධර්මපාලතුමා, හෙන්රි ස්ටිල් ඕල්කට්තුමා, වල්ලිසිංහ හරිචන්ද්‍රතුමා, හෙන්රි පේද්‍රික්තුමා වැනි ශ්‍රේෂ්ඨ වීරවරුන්ද වෙති. ශ්‍රී ලංකාවේ නිදහස හා සෛරී භාවය ඇති කර ලීමට මෙකී වීරවරුන් තම වගකීම ඉටු කර අතර එහිදී දේශපාලන වශයෙන් උරදී ක්‍රියා කර වූ අතර එෆ්.ආර්. සේනානායක, ඩී.එස්. සේනානායක, පී. රාමනාදම්, අරුණාචලම් පොන්නම්බලම් හා සින්නලෙබ්බේ වැනි විරුවන්ද ගෞරවයෙන් සිහිපත් කරන්නෙමු. මෙලෙස අතීතයේ දෙස බලන විට පෙනී යන්නේ ශ්‍රී ලංකාවේ ජාතික නිදහස වෙනුවෙන් වර්ග ભેදයකින්, ජාති ભેදයකින්, ආගම් ભેදයකින් තොරව එක්සත්ව, එක්සිත්ව ක්‍රියා කර ඇති බවකි. ශ්‍රී ලාංකිකයන් ජීවිත පරිත්‍යාගයෙන් ලබාගත් අනවිභවනීය නිදහස් 74 වැනි නිදහස් දිනය සමරන මෙම අවස්ථාවේදී අතීත විරුවන් අපිට පෙන්වූ මඟ අනුව ගමන් කරමින් ජාති, වර්ග, ආගම්, පක්ෂ ભેදයකින් තොරව ශ්‍රී ලාංකික මාතාවගේ එකම දරු පිරිසක් ලෙස කටයුතු කරමින් නිදහස් දිවහල් ස්වෛරී ශ්‍රී ලාංකිකයන් ලෙස ලොව හමුවේ අභිමානවත් ලෙස කටයුතු කිරීමට කැපවෙමු යන පණිවිඩය ඔබ හමුවේ තබමින් මම නිහඬ වෙමි. ඔබ සැමට තෙරුවන් සරණයි.
තෙරුවන් සරණයි සියලු දෙනාටම. ශ්‍රී ලංකාවේ 74 වෙනි නිදහස් සමරු දිනය. යටත් විජිතවාදීන්ගෙන් ශ්‍රී ලංකාව නිදහස ලබා වසර 74ක් ගත වෙන 2022 පෙබ්‍රවාරි 4 වෙනි දින කැනඩාවේ ශ්‍රී ලංකා මහකොමසාරිස් කාර්යාලය මගින් පවත්වන නිදහස් සමරු උත්සවයේ වෙනුවෙන් ආශිර්වාද පණිවුඩයක් ලබා දීම සඳහා කරන ලද ආරාධනාව ගැන ඔටාවා තේරවාද බෞද්ධ විහාරස්ථානයේ නායක ස්ථවිරයන් වන මම ඇතුළු සියලුම භික්ෂුන් වහන්සේලාත් දායක සභාවත් සියලුම දායක දායිකාවනුත් කෘතඥතාවය පළ කරන්නට කැමැතියි. මව්බිමෙන් බැහැරව ලෝකයේ කොතැන සිටියත් අපේ මව්බිමට අපි ගරු කරනවා. ලංකා ඉතිහාසය සහ අතීත ශ්‍රී විභූතිය සිහිපත් වෙන හැම විටම වර්තමානය ගැන ඉමහත් සංවේගයක් ඇති වෙනවා. වසර දහස් ගණනක් ක්‍රමයෙන් සංවර්ධනය වූ රට වසර 74ක් වැනි කෙටි කාලයකින් අන්ත අසරණ තත්ත්වයට පත්වීම පිළිබඳව අපි අද මවිතයට පත්වී සිටිනවා. අතීත රජදරුවන් ස්වයං පෝෂණය කළ රට 1505 සිට 1948 දක්වා අවුරුදු 400ක් තිස්සේ විදේශ ආධිපත්‍යයෙන් මුදවා ගැනීමට අපේ මුතුන් මිත්තන් ජීවිත පරිත්‍යාගයෙන් කටයුතු කළා. එසේ මුදවාගත් මව්බිම වසර 74කින් අසංවර්ධිත රටක් බවට පත් වී ඇති බව කනගාටුවෙන් උවත් කියන්නට සිද්ධ වෙනවා. නිදහස සැමරීම කෙසේ වෙතත් එම දිනයවත් මතකයෙන් ගිලිහි රටවැසියා අන්ත අසරණ තත්ත්වයට පත් වී ඇති මේ මොහොතේ අද රට වැටී ඇති තත්ත්වයෙන් ගොඩ ගැනීමට වත්මන් පාලනයට ශක්තිය ධෛර්යය ලැබේවායි තෙරුවන් සරණින් අපි ආශිර්වාද කරන්නට කැමැතියි. දේවෝ අස්සතු කාලේන සස්ස සම්පත්ති හේතුච පීතෝ භවතු ලෝකෝච රාජා භවතු ධම්මිකෝ. තෙරුවන් සරණයි සියලු දෙනාටම.
Namaskaram. I would like to wish you all a happy 74th anniversary of Independence of Sri Lanka. I am reciting Vedic mantras for prosperity of Sri Lanka and blessing to all Sri Lankan community for happiness, progress and peace. कवीनामुपमस्रवस्तमम् ज्येष्ठराजम् ब्रह्मणाम् ब्रह्मणस्पत आनुशृण्वन्नोतिभिः सीदसादनम् महागणपतये नमः श्रीसरस्वत्यै नमः श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ॐ मा आनो भद्राः क्रतवो जन्तु वृषभतो दपधासो अपरेतास उद्भिदाः देवानो जथा सदमुद्भृध असन्नपरायुवो रक्षितारो दिवे दिवे देवानां भद्रासु मतिर्रिजु यातान् देवानागुंरातिरभिनो निवर्तताम् देवानागुंसखियमुपासे दिमा वयन् देवान आयुः प्रतिरन्तु जीवसे तान् पूर्वयानि विदाहुमहे वयं भगं मित्रमदितर्दक्षमसरिधम् अर्जमणं वरुणग्नो सोमामशवेना सरस्वतीनाः सुभगामयस्कारत तन्नो वातो मायो भुवतु भेखजन् तन्माता पृथिवी तत्पिता द्यौः स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धशरवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु पृषदशवामरुताः पृश्निमातरः शुभञ्जावानो विदधे कुजगमायाः अग्निर्जिह्वा मानवः सूरचक्षासो विषवेनो देवा अवसागमन्निः भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवा भद्रं पश्येम क्षभृजतराः स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तुष्टुवा पुंसस्तनु भृव्यसे महि देवहितं जदायुः द्यौः शान्तिरन्तरिक्षगो शान्तिः पृथिवी शान्तिरापः शान्तिरोषधयः शान्तिः वनस्पतयः शान्तिर्विश्वे देवाः शान्तिर्ब्रह्मा शान्तिः सर्वज्ञो शान्तिः शान्तिरेव शान्तिः सामा शान्तिरेधि ॐ शान्तिः 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 ॐ Thank you so much. Best of luck. Namaskaram.
Dear brothers and sisters, as we all know, on February 4th, we celebrate 74th Independence Day and the great freedom that we enjoy in our country. We got our freedom after a lot of sacrifices. We should never take it for granted. It is a time to give thanks for the many blessings and the wealth of opportunity that we have in our country. With the gift of freedom that we experience comes great responsibility to use our freedom for the glory of God and the benefit of our neighbor. May God give us the grace to never use our freedom for evil, but only for the good. So let us invoke the blessing of our God on our country, on our leaders. Lord, we stand today as our forefathers have stood before you in times gone by, celebrating our history in all the great things that our country has achieved. We thank you for the blessing of freedom, for this generation and for the generation to come. We thank you for our independence, peace, and for all those who have bravely given their lives in the defense of freedom and very especially justice. We thank you that your gracious and provident hand has given us so much. Yet, as a nation and people, we have not always chosen the right way. We ask you to forgive us for these times. And on this day, we commit ourselves to wholeheartedly honoring and serving you with everything that we are. We lay our lives before you. Today, we do not presume your grace for our country. Our land is in need of you. Our people are in need of you. May we look only to you on this Independence Day, dependent on you. Please come now by your glorious Holy Spirit. Breathe new life into our nation. Help us to work for a greater justice for all and respect for each and every human life. And we ask you this through Christ our Lord.
Assalamu alaikum, Warakam, and Ayubowan. On behalf of the Sri Lanka Canada Muslim Association, we would like to take this opportunity to congratulate our motherland, Sri Lanka, on its 74th Independence Day. Bismillah ar-Rahman Rahim, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, Ar-Rahman Rahim, Maliki Yawmiddin, Iyaka na'budu wa iyaka nasta'in. Ihdina siratal mustaqim, siratal lazina an'amta alayhim, Hayril Maghlubi alayhim, Walallalin. Ameen. May Allah bless us with peace, happiness, harmony, and prosperity in one united Sri Lanka. Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend Sirs. Now the Independence Day message of HE the President will be read by His Excellency Harsha Kumara Navaratne.
Okay. Throughout history, people of various nations have struggled, fought and made a great sacrifice for their right to live as dignified citizens in free country. In Sri Lanka too, great kings such as Dutugamunu, Throughout history, people of various nations have struggled, fought and made great sacrifice for their right to live as a dignified citizen in free country. In Sri Lanka too, great kings such as Dutugamunu, Walagamba, Mahaparakumba, Vijayabahu, and Parakumba, the sixth, fought against foreign invaders at various periods during 2,500 years history, liberated the country from foreigners and united it. It is now 74 years since our country finally gained freedom from 450 years of European colonial rule. Even after independence, we had to fight for nearly 3 decades against an attempt to divide this country through terrorism. Today, Sri Lanka is free, sovereign, democratic country. We are its proud citizens. I take this opportunity to pay tribute to all patriots who dedicated themselves to gain full freedom for our country, facing various obstacles throughout the history, and continue to secure the freedom so gained. Every Sri Lankan citizen, irrespective of any community or religion, has the right to live freely and safely anywhere in the country today. There is a freedom to practice the religion of their choice. There is a freedom to hold independent opinion and express ideas. There is a full media freedom in the country. Sri Lanka citizens have the freedom to elect their representative through a fully democratic mechanism, and for those interested to engage in the political process and the governance. This is a cause for joy and pride for all of us. As people of free and democratic country, all of us have rights as well as responsibilities. The great benefit from freedom is when everyone fulfill their duty to country. It's not appropriate speak right only while forgetting responsibilities. The freedom of the country is most meaningful when it's strong in social, political economic spheres. As much as government, the people too have the right to actively contribute towards this. When steering the country in the right direction, we know that support of each and every person on the country cannot be expected. We are not ready to abandon our plans for country's future prosperity by looking upon those who will not change. Our objective is to do what is right by the country and not to please everyone. A nation leader has to constantly face many difficulties, calamities, problems, and challenges. Leading a team towards a vision is not easy. Changing the existing ways, no matter how good the intention is, not easy either. On certain matters, both local and foreign forces organize against us. Sometimes it may seem that everything happens around you conspiring against you. What the people expect from leaders is to manage all these crises and take the country forward, but not to escape from problems. We have the positive mindset needed for that. I am always ready to provide the necessary leadership to overcome any challenge facing the country. The world has been changed and will be changed by those people with positive ideas, who dream of future with optimism and strive to make it is reality. We see this thoughtful the history. Social progress in all developed nations has been possible due to positive thoughts of their leaders and the people. The most important criteria for this is the belief in ourselves. Difficult times do not last forever. People of great resolve as a need to face difficult times. Anyone who demoralizes another is not doing any good to the society at this moment. Therefore, all of us have to enormous responsibility to build positive attitude in country to face their crisis successfully. No one cries, no of none of the crises we experience today are long-term problems. We can find solution to them with optimistic approach. There is a role that each of us can play expedite the process. We must endeavor to our utmost for the country by fulfilling responsibilities in proper manner. We realized early on that solution to control COVID-19 pandemic was vaccination. Hence, we have been able to provide both vaccine doses to over 85,000 target population, control the disease, and resume normal community life. By now, all vaccine doses required to administer the booster to the people have been imported to Sri Lanka. We need to improve all three sectors of agriculture, industry, services in order to strengthen the economy of Sri Lanka. Special attention must be paid on ways and means to enhance export revenue while encouraging local production. While our nation policies are very clear on this stance, there should be more active participation in all sectors in implementing them. We cannot accelerate economic development without encouraging entrepreneurship and removing obstacles faced by the entrepreneurs. We have responsibility to more respectful and friendly to entrepreneurs who start their own business amidst various vulnerabilities and provide employment and income opportunities for others as well. A number of education reforms are taking place in the country to create a more productive citizen. Every child completing school education must strive to develop a skill or industry that can contribute to the country's economic process. One must try to enhance knowledge in cohesion sector and acquire professional qualification if possible. In this manner, you have the opportunity to directly contribute to the country economic process. The people who shed their sweat in farmland, factories, workplace, make an active contribution to the country's economy. I pay my respect to all of them. Expatriate Sri Lanka, who provide foreign exchange to the country, are a major resource to us. We have not forgotten how they came forward for the country in the recent past and supported us, making great sacrifice. We greatly appreciate their regular contribution to the energize our economy. I invite all expatriates Sri Lankan to invest in their homeland. This will enable you to continue actively contribute to building the future of this country. I have pledged as head of state always protect the freedom won for the future generation and to safeguard the unity, territorial integrity, sovereignty of this country. We will always abide by that pledge. We are a nation that safeguard the rule of law, respect international convention. All, Although some parties have attempted to make various allegations against Sri Lanka's for narrow motives, The government has not condoned any type of human right violation and will not leave room for such incidents in the future either. Under no circumstances shall we allow extremism to raise its head in this country. Today we have secured national security as promised by the government to the people. The people have given opportunity for the current government to implement vistas of prosperity and splendor policy statement presented by us. There have been no change in the policy framework we presented in regard to identify priorities such as green agriculture, promotion of renewable energy use, education reform compatible with the modern world, encouragement of local entrepreneurship, export diversification, and value addition and promotion of technology used for a new leap in the economy. We are committed to achieving the basic goals of productive citizen, a happy family, a disciplined, virtuous society, and prosperous country. I was given the leadership of the country at a very difficult time. In the last 2 years, we have had to find solution to the number of unanticipated problems. Despite all these difficulties, our government was able to carry out many development activities. All the plans required for the sustainable development of the country during my remaining tenure are being implemented. No matter what the obstacle are, if the majority of the people in our country are optimistic about the future and give their due contribution, we will be able to achieve those goals. I heartily invite all patriotic Sri Lanka to unite to build a proud nation that has achieved the true meaning of freedom. I thank you all. Teruan Saranai.
Thank you, sir. I cordially invite Mrs. Ansul Banujan, Deputy High Commissioner, to read the Independence Day message of Honorable Prime Minister of Sri Lanka in Tamil.
சுதந்திரம் என்பது வெற்றி பெற்று முடிந்து விடக்கூடியதல்ல. பல சவால்கள் மத்தியில் எமக்கு 74வது சுதந்திர தினத்தை கொண்டாட வேண்டியதுள்ளது. 2 ஆண்டுகளாக முழு உலகத்தையும் பாதிப்புக்குள்ளாகிய கொரோனா தொற்றினால் நாம் எதிர்நோக்கியுள்ள சவால்கள் பலவகம். அன்று அந்நிய படையெடுப்புகள் போன்றே பிரிவினவாத பயங்கரவாதத்தினால் எமது நாட்டு மக்கள் சுதந்திரத்தை இழக்க நேரிட்டது. இன்று கொரோனா தொற்றினால் மக்கள் சுதந்திரத்தை இழந்து பாதிக்கப்பட்டுள்ளனர். நாட்டை கற்றியெழுப்புவதற்காக 2 பொன்னான ஆண்டுகளை கொரோனா தொற்று எமக்கு இல்லாத செய்தது. கல்வி, பொருளாதார மற்றும் மக்களின் வாழ்க்கை தலைகீழாக மாற்றியது. ஆனால் சுதந்திரத்துக்காக போராடி பழகிய தேசம் என்ற வகையில் நாம் அதனால் துவண்டு போவதில்லை. முழு உலகமும் பல சிரமங்களுக்கு முகம் கொடுத்த போதிலும் அதில் இருந்து விடுபடுவதற்காக உலகளாவிய ரீதியில் முன்னெடுக்கப்பட்ட சகல சாதகமான செயல்பாடுகளும் நாமும் கடைபிடித்தோம். கொரோனா தொற்றுக்காக தீர்வான 3 தடுப்பு ஊசிகளும் நாம் மக்களுக்கு பெற்றுக் கொடுத்தோம். நாம் கடைபிடித்த இச்செயல்பாடுகள் மூலமாக கொரோனா தொற்றில் இருந்து விடுபட்டு மீண்டும் இலகு நிலைக்கு திரும்ப முடிந்துள்ளது. சுதந்திரம் என்பது வெற்றி பெற்று முடிந்து விடக்கூடியதல்ல. அது நாளுக்கு நாள் ஒவ்வொரு சுதந்திர தினத்திலும் வலியுறுத்த வேண்டிய விடயமாகும். எவ்வாறு ஆகினும் சுதந்திரத்திற்காக பல 100 ஆண்டுகளாக தொடர்ச்சியாக பக்குவப்பட்ட தேசத்துக்கு இந்த சவாலும் முகம் கொடுத்து செயல்பட முடியும் என்பது எனது நம்பிக்கை ஆகும். சுதந்திரத்துக்காக உண்மையாக போராடி பழகிய தேசம் என்ற வகையில் இச்சவாலும் எதிர்த்து போராடுவதற்காக இந்த சுதந்திர தினத்தில் உறுதி கொள்வோம். மஹிந்த ராஜபக்ஷ, இலங்கை ஜனநாயக சோஷலிஸ்ட் குடியரசின் பிரதமர்.
Thank you. Now, I cordially invite Mr. Tushar Rodrigo, Consul General of Sri Lanka in Toronto, to read the Independence Day message of Honorable Foreign Minister of Sri Lanka in English.
National Day message of the Honorable Foreign Minister of Sri Lanka. On the happy occasion of the National Day of Sri Lanka, marking our country's 74th anniversary of independence from 4.5 centuries of foreign colonial rule, it is with immense pride and pleasure that I extend my warm felicitations and sincere greetings to fellow citizens both in Sri Lanka as well as spread across all parts of the world. Today, we commemorate our nation's journey to regain our freedom and the rights of our people from foreign political, economic and socio-cultural subjugation. We recall with reverence and profound gratitude the dedication, sacrifice, determination and the struggle of our gallant forefathers to liberate our motherland. The independence we gained on 4th February 1948 enabled the country to initiate the political, economic and socio-cultural transformation of our people. Since independence, Sri Lanka has had its fair share of significant success, especially in achieving near universal literacy and the healthy society, manifested by low infant mortality and increasing longevity of population, directly attributable to the provisions of free education and free public health services to the public by successive governments. However, it has to be admitted that we as a nation have also had to face a number of formidable challenges along the way, including two insurrections as well as costly internal armed conflict lasting almost 3 decades, which ended in May 2009. On this important day, we bow our heads in humble tribute to all our national heroes who had fought against foreign colonial rule and the gallant members of our brave armed forces, the police and civil security personnel who had paid the supreme sacrifice in defending Sri Lanka's sovereignty, territorial integrity and national unity. Today, we are at the critical juncture in this journey where all Sri Lankans should rededicate themselves to strive hard to overcome the adverse impact of the current global COVID-19 pandemic that has plagued the entire world. In particular, the pandemic has severely and disproportionately affected the economies of developing countries, including Sri Lanka, and the lives of lower income groups. Therefore, I believe it is vital that all Sri Lankans in the country and abroad unite and support the efforts of the government to defeat the pandemic and revive the economy. In celebrating the 74th anniversary of independence, we are determined to fulfill the pledges of the government of President Gotabaya Rajapaksa under the Vistas of Prosperity and Splendor policy framework and build a peaceful and prosperous nation, maintaining friendly relations with all the countries in the world. Thank you. Professor G.L. Piris, Member of Parliament, Minister of Foreign Affairs, Sri Lanka.
Thank you. I now cordially invite His Excellency Harsh Kumar Navaratne, High Commissioner of Sri Lanka to Canada, to address the audience.
We are celebrating Sri Lanka's 74th Independence Day. It is interesting that our celebration is held in the midst of a country facing the challenges of COVID-19 and significantly overcoming the threat with an invaluable contribution from our frontline health heroes who have rendered their service while making a tremendous sacrifice Let me congratulate them for their great commendable service. With the COVID-19 pandemic still lingering, the world at large still facing an unprecedented crisis within its societies, with its medical, social and economic impacts suffering every aspect of the daily life. We in Sri Lanka have no different. Historically as a nation and courageous people, we have faced many crises and overcome many challenges, and we will overcome the present difficulties with the same vigor and understanding. It is with much joy that Sri Lanka takes this opportunity to appreciate our long-standing bilateral relationship and friendship with Canada. Our diplomatic relationship was established in 1958 and continued to this date that the same robust and cordial relationship started with. Over 63 years of our relationship and partnership has resulted in mutual benefit based on Commonwealth values, democratic norms and in multilateral forums. In my first meetings with the Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade and Development of Canada, we enjoy sharing a prospect that are mutually interested and offer benefit to both countries. Since Canada is committed to the Indo-Pacific strategy, we also discussed the role of Sri Lanka as a geopolitically important maritime focal point. We also proposed the possibility of Canada as a catalyst to bring the various groups and stakeholders together to proceed with the discussions on the ongoing reconciliation process in Sri Lanka, which will contribute to the peace in South Asia and Indian Ocean region. His Excellency the President, Gotabaya Rajapaksa, while addressing the United Nations Assembly, declared, I quote, "Violence robbed Sri Lanka of thousands of lives and decades of prosperity in the past half a century. My government is committed to ensuring that such violence never takes place in Sri Lanka again. We are therefore setting to address the core issues behind it. Fostering greater accountability, restorative justice and meaningful reconciliation through domestic institution is essential to achieve lasting peace. So is ensuring more equitable participation in the fruits of economic development. It's my government firm intention to build a prosperous, stable and secure future for all Sri Lankans, regardless of ethnicity, religion or gender. We are ready to engage with all domestic stakeholders and to obtain the support of our international partners and United Nations in this process." Unquote. Here in Canada, our High Commission will be dedicated to the following through His Excellency the President Peace and Reconciliation Agenda, with services provided by both our offices in Ottawa and Toronto. Today, in this historical Independence Day, on behalf of my government, I would like to invite all those who are committed to peace, reconciliation of Sri Lankan people to visit, meet and have a dialogue with us. Many of the best practices of peace building start with the like-minded people meeting and sharing their thoughts, opening up on prevailing issues, trying to understand and slowly build trust to meet again and again, look for opportunities to work together. By doing so, we continue to find areas in which we can cooperate and build relationships. Again, I propose the need to engage with key stakeholder communities and to understand the sincerity of our peace and reconciliation initiative. Let me refer back to my greetings for the Thai Pongal festival. I quote, "Sri Lanka is a multi-ethnic and multicultural society that has over the years collectively nurtured the celebration of important festival like Thai Pongal. I am happy to wish peace and good health to the Canadian Tamil community." Unquote. We recognize Canadian of Sri Lankan origin, specifically a Sri Lankan Canada society, for their sacrifice, commitment and the representation in national and international fora. It is also imperative to highlight the importance of all of you representing your respective ethnicities, Tamil, Muslim, Burga and Sinhala, as you collectively support, cooperate and engage in missions related to peace and reconciliation initiative. At my credential ceremony, the Governor General addressed us saying, I quote, "We all work across borders. We should always keep in mind how much we can accomplish when we put aside what divides us and focus on our common humanity. Unquote. When I met her in person, she emphasized on the importance of learning from Canada's Truth Commission experience and its outcome. In addition to this, I was introduced to a leading personality who was involved in the commissions. Our High Commission highly appreciate Governor General intervention and advice and promise to follow through. Our mission had several meetings with the Ceylon Chamber of Commerce and its members on possible trade, investment and business-to-business dialogue. As a continuation of such meetings, we are in contact with the Canadian business chambers and interested business houses for finalizing successful business partnership. There are hundreds of Sri Lankan students who are studying in Canada universities, and our mission to work with few of those universities to initiate a possible collaboration with Sri Lankan universities. Interestingly, our healthcare workers are actively involved in the Canadian healthcare system, and we are working with the Canadian government to have a bilateral understanding on opening an opportunity for more Sri Lankan healthcare workers to come to work Canada. In 2018, Sri Lanka welcomed 50,000 tourists from Canada. With Sri Lanka effort to overcome the spread of COVID-19, along with the rapidly rolling out vaccines, Sri Lanka has currently become one of the most favored tourist destinations in South Asia. Our mission will work with the Canadian Travel Organization and interested individuals to promote tourism in more effective manner. Hopefully, the coming year will open up many opportunities for Sri Lanka and Canada to develop new initiatives and strengthen our bilateral cooperation and enjoy person-to-person cooperation and experience strong solidarity. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now I have the honor to invite our guest of honor today, Mr. Paul Topil, Assistant Deputy Minister for Asia of the Department of Foreign Affairs, Trade and Development, to deliver the felicitation message on behalf of the Government of Canada.
Good evening. Bonsoir. I am delighted to participate in the virtual celebrations for the 74th anniversary of Sri Lanka's independence. I would like to extend congratulations to all Sri Lankans on this National Day. Canada was among the first to recognize Sri Lanka's independence in 1948, as we welcomed your entry to the Commonwealth of Nations. Canada values our long-standing relations that date back to before Sri Lankan independence and have since flourished through our vibrant people-to-people connections. In Canada, roughly 250,000 Canadians of Sri Lankan heritage have greatly contributed to the prosperity, cultural, and social fabric of our country. Over the past year or more, we have witnessed the importance of such long-standing relations, which facilitate our collective efforts in addressing key global challenges, such as that posed by COVID-19 pandemic. We also hope to collaborate on matters of mutual interest, such as promoting inclusion, gender equality, and addressing climate change. Through such collaboration, we can strive to deepen and strengthen the relationship between our two countries. Looking ahead, we hope that Sri Lanka will continue to pursue reconciliation hand in hand with inclusive development. Canada looks forward to continuing our role as a constructive partner to Sri Lanka, helping to build a peaceful, unified, and prosperous nation, while also supporting efforts towards achieving meaningful and lasting peace and reconciliation. In Canada, we have had to find ways to accommodate and recognize diversity while strengthening our national university and prosperity. We have also recognized our tragic history with the Indigenous peoples of our country, acknowledging the importance of accountability as a cornerstone of our pathway of reconciliation. This work, very important, never ceases, but we are stronger, though, for it in the end. We all have a shared interest in seeing a prosperous, united, and inclusive Sri Lanka. Thank you for inviting me to participate in your celebrations, and on behalf of all Canadians, I wish all Sri Lankans the very best and a festive and happy Independence Day.
Thank you, Mr. Topin. We have now come to the end of today's program. I wish to take this opportunity to thank the venerable members of the Mahasangha, namely, Most Venerable Jinananda Thero, Chief Priest of Hilda Jayawardena, Most Venerable Dr. Valasmulli Sirisumana Thero, Chief Incumbent of Ottawa Buddhist Vihara, Most Venerable Kakanadure Hema Lankara Nayaka Thero, Chief Incumbent of Ottawa Theravada Buddhist Vihara and Cultural Centre, Venerable Dawal Kumar Purohit Swami from Hindu faith, Reverend Father Virgin Amirtha Kumar from Catholic faith, and Mr. Riyaz Rauf, Secretary, Sri Lanka Canada Muslim Association in Toronto, for bestowing blessings on this important occasion. I also thank our guest of honor, Mr. Paul Thopil, Assistant Deputy Minister for Asia of the Department of Foreign Affairs, Trade and Development, for providing us felicitations from the Government of Canada. In addition, I wish to thank each and every one of you who joined today with us for this virtual celebration. As we bring this celebration to an end, you may enjoy some beautiful and nostalgic videos of Sri Lanka and what Sri Lanka has to offer. Thank you.
Our history isn't in the past. Our heritage isn't our better times. Our culture isn't done being defined. It's in the air. It's in the earth. It's in the waters. As it has been for thousands of years, as it still is this morning. Sri Lanka isn't a place, it's a marvel, a brave new world that wasn't made by the rules. She's a rebel of nature. She's a blessing of imagination, of untold innovation and resilience. Let's tell the story of Sri Lanka with the same courage this island was born of. It's in how we love, how we believe, how we protect, how we share, how we feast, and how we heal. As we dismiss strangers by making them friends. Because that stuff of stars that is beneath our feet, the brilliance that makes the monsoon waltz around lush hills and save itself to soothe scorched plains, the wonder that makes the salty seas nurture jungles of pure paradise, and the wild beauty that stays fierce and vibrant even as time tries to quieten it, is in us. And now, it's time to show the world Sri Lanka as it has always been, but never been realized before. Invest in blue oceans, coastal waters and blue skies. Invest in clean energy, adventure, momentum, and exciting opportunity. Invest in history, culture, and tradition. Invest in ancient healing heritage. Invest in the most exciting wildlife safari destinations, the world's most exclusive tea and cuisine. Invest in sustainable luxury. Invest in tropical architecture. Invest in mastery, world-class hospitality education, artistry. Invest in determination, untapped potential. Invest in ambition, passion, vision. Invest in boundless ingenuity. Invest in innovation. Invest in tomorrow. Invest in Tourism Sri Lanka.
කරලා තියෙනවා. මම